We're finally here. We've had a couple technical difficulties, but we've straightened things out.
Mostly.
And we're here for another episode of Prep or Die.
Dun dun dun.
Have you prepped anything this week, Aphi?
Yeah, totally.
Totally?
Yeah, totally.
What did you prep?
Nothing.
I thought so. I thought as much.
Shut your hole.
I've been prepping.
Have you? Are you ready to kill us on Sunday?
I haven't prepped that game in over like multiple weeks.
Oh my!
I had enough figured out that we could go for a while on that, but I started prepping. I started prepping my Dragonlance game.
Oh yeah, okay.
Which I'm very excited about.
Very excited.
Artemis in chat says they're prepping right now.
Yeah.
That's good.
Anybody else prepping?
I love to prep. I just prepped and I'm gonna prep again.
Yeah.
See? A prepping machine. Let's get to our guests, starting with the Lich. So tell us a little bit about yourself and and we now know that you've just prepped.
I did. That was a little history of the world part 3. It's good to be the king. It's good to be the king. Hi, I'm the Lich. I am on the Liching Hour on Twitch. I run a variety of different games, TTRPG. One of my jewels though is Viva La Dungeon, which is a board game / game show that I created. That I got the pleasure of having DM Jeremy and DM Aphi play a little while ago, and it's more game show than it is TTRPG. It's a battle royale dungeon crawling experience. I could go on all night about me though. I'm not gonna take up all your time.
I think Aphi died almost immediately.
Because your brother is jerk.
He I won't say it. But yes, he kind of backstabbed you.
You guys
had planned to wipe me out in Viva La Dungeon.
Yep.
and he turned on you.
Yeah, like immediately. First roll.
What's the line from Princess Bride? Never trust a Sicilian when death is on the line?
Yeah.
Is that something like that? I don't know if that's the exact
Are
quote,
you Sicilian?
Yes. God no.
Okay.
But I think it still applies in this case, right?
Never trust a Chris.
And Viva La Dungeon will be becoming a board game. Am I right?
Yeah, I'm really excited. I'm going to GaryCon next week.
Yeah.
And I've got 8 sessions filled up of people that are going to help me playtest it.
And then it'll be a board game in the near future.
Well, playtesting the board game. Yeah, playtesting the actual board game.
They're actually playtesting the board game. Oh.
Yeah, I'm taking a prototype to GaryCon, and I filled up 8 sessions and gonna. Right now, everybody who's played it are all fans. People who've been playing. We've been playing it on Tabletop Simulator. So this will be the first time I get to sit down with people who've never had no idea, have never had any idea what this is, and get a chance to play the board game. And then we'll see where it goes. Mm-hmm.
Nice.
And then we should see a Kickstarter in the fall, right?
Hope so. Yes,
I'm looking
I'm
forward.
gonna keep it loose. because you don't want to make sure I put together a really good product. So yeah,
exactly.
But fall is where we're shooting.
When you go to Kickstarter, you don't want to have to redo it.
No.
You want to win on the first one.
Yeah. I've seen people win on second, but usually you don't want to do that. Usually you're doing a second one because there were some boxes you didn't check the first time.
Yes.
So you want to take the time to check all those boxes to begin with. I've kickstarted a couple other things. So
GaryCon, I wish I was going this year, but my son and I were going to go to GaryCon, and then COVID hit 2 years ago, and we're in Canada, so the border's been a bit crazy as to whether we can or can't cross it. So I did not buy tickets for this year, but maybe next year. Okay, so our next guest, our returning guest, Madame Vermilion from TikTok fame.
I don't think I'm that famous.
Totally.
I think you're famous.
You are.
With everything that's going on, I've been kind of lax on it. One of the reasons that I've been kind of lax on my TikTok is we are actually, me and a few other DM, we are creating a digital book, homebrewed. And we're going to try to make that available as soon as possible. Like they said, I am on TikTok under Madame Vermilion or Ripper's Heart. And I do D&D content. I do mom content. It's it's really hard to continue to play in as many tables as I'm in when you're a mom, but
Yes.
we're making it work.
I say yes, like I'm like, yes, I know exactly what it's like to be mom. No, I don't, but I do know what it's like to be a dad, and you're right. If you have family commitments and then you try to squeeze everything else in, it can be a challenge. It can be a challenge.
Well, one thing we started was my 3-year-old now has her own dice collection, so we let her roll one's dice at the table.
What color were the first dice?
Purple and green. They look like Scooby-Doo colors.
I like that. I think my kids all got red for some reason. I think for whatever reason when I bought them it was always red. I don't know why that is. Maybe that's
well. She comes to the game.
That's my aura. Sorry, she comes with what?
She comes to us with comes with us to the game store, and we let her pick out a set of dice for her, and she gets to pick out dice for me.
So is your book going to, is
I've been playing D&D.
Sorry,
it'll be a PDF.
I'm getting caught up in a delay with you, but it'll be in a PDF. I don't mean to cut you off, but PDF, no print on demand option, just PDF.
If we can get print on demand, I'm gonna try. We're still trying to find artists that we can work with. Every time I put feelers out for an artist, they never get back with me. So,
what kind of? You need an artist?
What kind of art?
Message you an artist.
Yes.
Yeah, and I'll message you an artist too, so you'll have 2 that you can approach.
Okay, that sounds great.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely.
Also, bug Artemis. They're in the chat.
Artemis in channel does some art.
Yeah,
exactly.
So does Dredge and Greed. Dredging does all my art.
Does Dredge do? Oh, sorry. This might be a secret. Dredge is banana, right?
Yes. Dredge is banana.
The banana. My favorite part of your channel, the banana, especially Darth banana. Oh, there we go. Okay, and last but certainly not least, GM Rando.
Hey.
Hi,
Rando.
Rando.
Our hero at the very last second, right? We had occasionally on a show like this, you get a cancellation, and then you're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do? And then you look for people that are like superheroes to step in. Enter Rando. Maybe Captain Rando. GM Rando, but our hero tonight nonetheless. Rando, tell us about you.
Yeah, so staying true to my namesake, I'm just kind of this random guy. I just walked in and now I'm here. So I don't have anything really to plug, but I am a therapist, and so a real interest of mine is integrating tabletop RPGs into therapy. So I've had the opportunity to do that before, and run like a group session where, you know, we play the game and then like do a process. So that's something that I'm like slowly working on as I kind of like build my professional career. And tabletop has been a passion of mine since I got to do some math here. 10 or 12 years now.
More than one.
So, yeah.
More than one.
More than one.
Yeah. So
you're not the first person that I've heard mention that like D&D and role-playing games being used in therapy. I think that's something that's coming along and is really, really interesting to me.
Yeah, I think Sin was doing that as well, and there was somebody else that was using it as a therapy tool.
Sin from we've had her on the show. We've had them on the show.
Yep.
And yeah, I think you're right.
And there was somebody else that was using it as a play, like a therapy sort of adaptation.
Yeah, so it kind of hits this. I'll try not to nerd out too much. So 2 things I can talk about all day.
Nerd all the way, man. That's what we're here for.
Well, I'm a therapy nerd. So it actually hits this cross point of like 2 modalities of therapy, of like narrative therapy where you like write stories, and then play therapy, which is actually used for kids. But there's actually a lot of research coming out that's like adults benefit from play too, which is kind of like one of those no-brainer things, but we have to convince all the people who have been doing this for a while that their ways of just sitting and talking are not always the best. So yeah, so I'm hoping to develop that and integrate that into kind of my work, and maybe along the way I've been working on a campaign setting for 5 years now, off and on, and so maybe one day I'll actually make something of that. So
That's excellent. I'm always fascinated with how many people come at the game from different angles for different reasons and using it in different ways. Fascinating to me. Fascinating to me. Well, listen, we're going to now move into the next section of this where you're going to prep a one-shot for us. And if you don't prep a one-shot, I think you die. I think that's what happens, isn't it?
yeah,
Aphi?
there's
Yeah.
It is canon
right
on
there.
Yeah.
Has anyone ever died on the show?
I feel like Ruin was pretty damn close.
Yes, Ruin almost died on the show, but it had nothing to do with the prep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it was just his butt.
Thank you for being so precise in where the problem was.
I mean, you gotta. Anybody who's been there, sometimes you feel like you're dying.
If you know,
If you know, you know.
Yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna put our 3 guests. If you haven't been here before, we're gonna put our 3 guests into the cone of silence. We're gonna mute them. We're gonna turn their mics off. We're gonna turn their headphones off, and they won't be distracted by us. And then Aphi and I will start to go through the 5 pictures that we've given them. And then at some point during the half hour they get to prep, we're gonna pop in and check up on what they're doing. And see.
Ruin is here, and he says it was his mouth more specifically. I still think it's his butt.
Well, he disagrees. He disagrees. I love that he's here to defend himself. It's like, don't talk about it. Don't talk about it.
Man, I've been there.
Mouth.
I had poutine earlier. As a Canadian, yeah.
Yeah.
It happens.
At my college, the cafeteria opened today for the first time, and there was poutine everywhere. On a side note, I don't know why.
Poutine. Yeah.
Poutine.
Yep.
Exactly. Okay,
We're children.
Let's do this. Our guests have the 5 pictures. We're going to put them in the cone of silence, and we're going to talk about the 5 pictures. Then we're going to come back. They're going to tell us about their adventures, and we're going to steal all their ideas.
Yes. Theft is rampant here.
I like this idea.
All right, I'm shutting you all down.
And they get to prep.
They are off to prep.
Okay.
All right.
Let's
and I
do
have
this.
started the timer.
Oh my gosh, we're on target tonight.
Yeah! Now, if only I could get my lights to work.
Your lights?
My lights aren't working, and I'm sad.
I just realized now, like, you can see boxes and stuff behind me. What a slob.
I can't see any of the boxes by how I've cropped your camera, so you're fine.
Oh, so now I'm telling you all about it. And
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, well.
Do you want me to, take you for a walk, and I can show you, the litter pan and stuff? To make you feel better?
Walk with the animal. Okay.
Okay.
Give us a picture, Aphi.
All right.
I'll see if I can find the write-up we did for them.
Yeah. So this picture features a rat jumping out of a box. It looks like there's some sort of coin inside of it. And for whatever reason, this picture actually flagged us as inappropriate on Discord.
Yeah, Discord wouldn't let us upload this. Something about this image is inappropriate. Please don't speculate. Just accept.
Just accept that that's what it is.
So the image comes from the Fighting Fantasy book line. Is it Steve Jackson who did the Fighting Fantasy, I believe? The artist is Russ Nicholson, who we're very familiar with. A couple things I like about this image is, one, we have a coin in the box.
Yep.
So what's the coin all about? But we also have, I don't know, is that a rat guardian? If you open is it like a Vorpal rat from Monty Python?
Maggie says that it's Reggie, who is my rat in our Friday game.
Reggie. Oh, in your Friday game?
Yep. The coin has some sort of Z marking for all of the Americans here.
And maybe a skull?
Maybe a skull? It's hard to tell.
Bad guys have the letter Z in their name. We know that.
Frickin' Kyle.
Kyle. But it's the only thing in the box.
Other than the rat.
Well, yeah.
But the rat is escaping, so I don't know if that counts anymore.
Is the rat just a victim of circumstance? Chat, let us know. How did the rat get in the box? Is he
He's a
there
rat
as
in a
guardian?
box.
Oh my gosh. No, Smashing Pumpkins, it's a rat in a cage. It doesn't work. Doesn't work here.
Nope. Think Saturday Night Live with
I like
Justin
the idea
Timberlake.
That maybe the rat is a familiar?
It would definitely explain if
How
it's
does
been
it
in there
live
for
in
a
the
while.
box?
Yeah.
Exactly. How does it live in the box?
But also,
And a
if it's wood,
coin-
I feel like a rat would be able to.
Chew its way out.
So maybe it's lead?
That's not lead. Look at the grain.
I mean, it could be lead, just carved with a wood grain.
The rat almost looks like it's glowing. Do you see the light burst around the rat?
Yeah. Maybe he's just like a Rudolph rat.
Rudolph, the red-nosed rat?
Yeah.
Don't like that.
Reggie the red-nosed rat.
Reggie, the red-nosed rat. That works. But the box, the other thing is we don't know, like, we don't see enough of the box to know. It doesn't appear to have a locking mechanism.
No, doesn't. It could have something on the top, though, and here is Reggie. Nice plastic rat with a broken tail.
Oh, what are you doing?
There you go. Maggie was asking for Reggie. Reggie appearance was necessary.
Okay. Crow says it's the carpenter. He made this box, and the coin is paying him for the... Well, fair enough. I want it to be sinister, though.
See, what if it wasn't, though? What if it was just like, oh shit, the guy who built this box is blind, and when he was closing it, the rat climbed in, and he had no idea. So it's literally just like a rat in a box.
3 blind mice.
Yeah.
See how they run?
Yeah.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't know. This is I think we need more pictures to somehow tie the coin into something else, maybe.
Yeah. All right. So next picture appears to be a person communicating with a Manticore.
Yes.
It's
okay.
one of our very few all-color pictures.
Yes.
We love
And
the, Gary Chalk and
This
stuff.
may be familiar to someone. So shout it out if you know. This is actually a relatively famous cover art for a novel. If somebody wants to, I'll give it just a moment in chat for somebody to say if you know where this is from. I love the Manticore. The artwork on that.
Yeah,
is
I love
amazing.
the detail around the door, personally.
Oh, the scrolling and all that?
The scroll work, the skull, like the sort of filigree thing that they have going on with the, like in the border there. Beautiful.
So this artwork is actually from a novel called A Spell for Chameleon. And it's the book is written by Piers Anthony. And the artist is Michael Whalen. And this, I believe, A Spell for Chameleon is sort of like the first book in the series from Piers Anthony. And Piers Anthony wrote, volumes and volumes of fantasy novels. I really, really like this piece.
Yeah, me too.
And what I like about this is that maybe, manticores are monsters. I realize that, but this sort of implies that maybe this monster can be reasoned with.
Yeah, getting more of like a Gynosphinx kind of vibe from it.
Yeah. Manticores, and the other thing is a regular D&D manticore, the tails have spikes that they can shoot, but in this case, there's other stories of manticores with like a scorpion tail, and that's what we're seeing here. And I really like it, and I want to know who what this person is approaching the manticore. What's their story? The gate, though, like I would like to see the GMs maybe use the gate for something, like that the manticore is guarding the gate, and what's that all about?
For sure.
But we will see.
Yeah.
I like that the Manticore. I think there's great detail on the face and everything, and I think Manticores are just one of these monsters that you know, they've been in D&D a long time. They've been in D&D a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever put a Manticore in an adventure?
I haven't, but I have been in adventures where there are Manticores featured. I forget where it is, but it's a pretty very recent module where it's sort of like this upside down ziggurat, and every level has like Manticores or sea creatures. I think it was actually White Plume.
White Plume Mountain.
White Plume Mountain. Yeah, that's the one. I knew I'd done it recently.
3 Manticores in the bottom?
Yeah. And that's pretty much the only time I've ever really interacted with a Manticore.
Yeah. I agree. Crow, I agree with you. There's a bit of a Pennywise vibe coming off of that face.
Yeah.
Oh.
He's got like resting jerk face.
Wouldn't that be great? Wouldn't that be great to have a Manticore with like a clown face?
Oh, God. Freaky.
Freaky. Okay, let's do our third image.
Right.
I hope they don't focus on just the Manticore. I hope that they pick up something from the archway and we get all kinds of stuff.
Yeah, me too. All right, so our third image is...
Crow, I'm not sure everything is better with a clown face.
No, I would disagree. Like this guy with the clown face, I don't think so.
What do you think of this guy? What do you think of this guy?
I think he's got a problem.
He's got a problem?
He seems, a little keyed up.
Oh, that hurt. That really, Yeah, we're going to have to lock you down for that.
I think that was for Maggie. That was for my friend Maggie.
So
because it was real bad.
We don't have a name for this, and we don't know where this is from, but we can tell you that the artist is Gary Chalk, and it was on Mr. Chalk's Twitter feed that we found it, and we just thought he was great. The keys, it's described as a goblin with keys, but I don't think he's very goblin looking in my idea of a goblin.
No, I was thinking like dwarf maybe, or a gnome, but too tall.
Dwarf gnome. Is that a big key or a small person?
Both.
Ruin is saying that he has the key that the Manticore needs, but needs a task done to help him remember which one it is.
Yes. We're loving this.
Pro, this gnome is the little beep beep who puts out one-time use keys in dungeons. I love that idea.
Yep.
All the keys are only one-time use. Yeah.
They're skeleton keys. They open anything, but they only work once.
Like, I feel like this could be a villain.
The Keymaster?
I don't think he has to be a good guy. I think you could use this image like this guy is sketchy. Look at that face.
Yeah. I feel like he could be a villain or like the gray area, Not good, not bad.
Not bad. He's somewhere in the middle.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree.
Maggie says a Kingdom Hearts character. It's a Keyblade. Yeah. Yeah, I can see that.
Keyblade. I actually love the idea of a gnome character that maybe uses a massive key as a mace.
Oh, I love it. A great idea.
Like that key there is actually not for a door. That is his weapon.
It's for opening heads instead of doors.
Oh, there you go.
There you go.
Head key.
The head
key. I love it.
Yep,
I love it.
Yep.
It's got to happen. Someone make, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, totally not writing stats right now.
How are we for time?
We are 18 and a half.
18 and a half left?
Yep.
Oh, we are moving tonight.
Chugga.
This is very snappy, very snappy. Shall we check in with Lich and see how he's doing?
Yeah, let's bother the Lich King. Hello, Lich.
Hello.
She called you the Lich King. Are you a king?
I'm a CEO.
A CEO. I like
king
that
of a
better.
Company.
I like that better. So tell us, is there a picture that sort of got the ball rolling for you as to where this one shot might start, or just got the idea going for the adventure?
Okay, so I didn't want it to because it's so very obviously a very good starting point picture. I tried to avoid it as best I could, but everywhere I got on something that I was kind of excited about, and it came back to this dude, which is the key guy.
The key guy?
Yeah. He's so obviously a good starting place for adventure. I was like, no, I'm not going to go obvious. but I ended up somewhere with an idea where he worked pretty well, so.
I do think that like take him away, just the key itself. Adventures like the begin with a key. Like, where does the key go? What does it do? What does it unlock? I mean, there's all sorts of good stuff there, right?
Yeah, and then you got a guy with just adorned with keys. It's kind of like, oh, geez.
Where do they all go? Is there one that sort of you're not sure how it's going to fit in?
Picture wise,
mm-hmm.
The hardest one is the Manticore.
The Manticore? Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But
he just doesn't quite fit the rest. One of these things is not like the other.
Yeah. I guess it's either the Manticore or the mouse. And the mouse in the box is so, I don't know, it just feels like something I'd have this would be something I'd find in a room somewhere.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be as consequential. Maybe well, I mean, actually, I thought this could be a good starting one. The mouse could be more than it seems.
Sure.
A polymorphed mage or something of that nature.
Yep.
So I started thinking about that guy. And in the Manticore, I guess, is a good place. You know, he was also no, not for the kind of job thinking of.
Fair enough. Okay, well, we'll let you get back to it. We're near the halfway point. Are we happy?
15? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, you got about 15. We're going to jump over and see how our other guests are doing, and we'll be back when it's finish time.
Okay. Madame. Hello, friend.
Hello.
How's it going?
It's going great. I'm nearly done.
You should be a pro at this. You've done this all before. It's like no problem.
Yeah.
Is there one picture that sort of started things rolling? Did you catch me? Maybe not. Is there one picture that sort of got it all going?
Yes. It was. Yeah, the gnome-looking guy
with the keys.
Can you hear me?
Oh dear.
I think we're having technical difficulties again.
The joys of being virtual.
Yes, it happens. It happens.
It's all good.
Yeah.
So the gnome with the key was the starting point, you think?
Can you guys hear me, though?
We can and we can't. You come and go.
Yes. Yeah. He was so quirky. So, yes, the gnome with the key.
Okay. You were about halfway through. I'm going to let you go. Maybe the internet will sort itself out by the time we come back to you, but you're about halfway. You got about 15 left.
Okay.
Okay?
Oops.
We broke it.
I guess so.
We broke it. That's okay.
Hi, Rando.
Hello.
How's it going?
We've come to bother you, Rando.
What?
We've come to bother you.
Oh, okay.
How's it going?
Good.
Yeah.
Is there a picture that has been a source of a starting point, a source of inspiration?
Where would I say I started? The first one that came up to me was actually the second one. So that's the one with the Manticore.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
So that's kind of where I started, and then things have kind of evolved from there.
Is there one that you're having a hard time fitting in?
The gnome with the keys. which is like kind of my favorite picture, but also the like one that doesn't really fit.
It's like, what do you do with him?
What do I do with him?
Yeah, like I think it's a cool picture too, but I think you definitely, because he has the keys, you have to be like, what do I do with him? What is he there for? What is his purpose?
So because I think it's a kind of a funny picture. What I've done with him so far is tried to make him like a memorable, like cameo, you know.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So one of those characters that, you know, when they're talking about, when players or I'm talking about it later, of like, oh, you remember that funny gnome guy?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
He looks grumpy, so I'm kind of gonna go with like a funny, angry old gnome man who like doesn't want to pull it up with the party.
Yes.
So
He's
the
like-
DM personified, basically.
A little bit, yeah. So it'll let me do some expressing of some of my inner frustrations with the party. So
Just go to the quest hook, my god.
yeah,
Looking at you,
literally,
Maggie.
Like literally, that's kind of his role, is he's kind of pushing the party to the next step. So
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So
All right. Well,
That's
you
perfect.
have 11 and a half minutes left.
I was just about to ask for a time check.
Yeah,
That's
get
way
on it.
more time than I thought.
All right.
11 minutes. Good
All
luck.
right, thanks so much.
And a half.
And a half.
Sorry, and a half.
Need to remember.
Oops. I muted you too early. Sorry.
No worries. You're
All right.
fine.
Go. Back to work. Shoo. All right. So here's our fourth image.
How about this says he's just a bad locksmith. So he's just got a bunch of keys.
I love that so much. That is fantastic.
Have you ever seen like the old janitor with like 100 keys on their chain?
Yeah, and there's like 7 doors in the
Yeah.
hallway. Like, what do you need all that for?
Exactly. I like that idea. And they always have to go through about 30 keys before they find the right one.
Mm-hmm.
So this is our next image.
Yes, obviously graveyard vibes. Got some like a bat
Can you-
skull.
Can you guess who the artist is?
Is it Gary Chalk?
Is it Gary Chalk?
I don't
It's Gary Chalk. This is from Lone Wolf book number 1. Lone Wolf books were sort of like choose your own adventure books. And this is from Flight from the Dark. And we have sort of like a graveyard here.
Mm-hmm. I'm loving
And-
this. It's sort of like bat skull. It's a skull
Yes.
with bat wings attached to it.
Who doesn't like a skull with bat wings attached?
I'm assuming Batman?
Oh, come on. Even he would like that.
I don't know. I think that's too edgy for him.
It's too edgy.
Yeah, I think so.
I like how the archway up there doesn't seem to be attached to anything. It's just an archway.
It's just there. Maggie says it's the door to... Or sorry, Artemis says. I was looking at Maggie and Artemis. It's the door to the Shadowfell and to stay away. Mm-hmm.
I like that it's a door to the Shadowfell, actually, very much.
Yeah.
I think you could do it even to the Feywild. I know it's a little dark here, but, you know.
There's got to be some darkness in the Feywild. You can't be that messed up and not have
Absolutely.
darkness over there.
You know, I like that we have the scene of a graveyard, but there's no actual, like, obvious undead here.
No. There's like
think
some mists and stuff.
You're probably thinking undead when you walk in here, but I like that there's not any undead. And maybe,
Yeah.
you know.
It's literally just a graveyard. People are, yes, they're buried here, but there's no zombies or skeletons.
Hear me out on this one, because when we do our pictures, I always try to come up with my own we don't just throw these in. We're like, what adventure would I make? And Jason and I came up with this idea that this archway is the other side of the Manticore archway.
Oh.
That like the characters travel here and pass through this archway, and you can pass through fine, but then on the other side there's a Manticore, and there's a gate on the other one.
Yeah.
So you can't get back through without appeasing the Manticore some way.
I like that, and I like the, you know, I know it's two different like areas and, you know, decades probably that they were made in, but having sort of like a reverse Wizard of Oz, you know, where everything's really dark and black and white, and then you go through and it's like all these bright colors and you're just really, really
Yes.
overwhelmed, and there's like wisdom saving throws to deal with just how vibrant everything is.
That's a cool idea. That's a cool idea.
Crow
Yeah,
says, one-time use keys just kind of make me think you're helping the Manticore boss set up the first dungeon. This is the main door because it was cheap real estate.
Clearly, real estate value is low here.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, I like the.
Your
I
neighbors
just
are a bunch of
noticed
deadbeats.
that if you have a couple pictures and they both have archways in them, like I don't know, there'd be some sort of neat way to link the archways.
Absolutely.
We'll see. We'll see if the DMs come up with that. Okay, let's jump to our final picture and show everybody.
Okay.
And I really like this one.
Yeah, this is a good picture. Certainly ups the creep factor a fair bit. We have a large snake wrapped around a skull on a pedestal with a spotlight.
Yeah.
Freaky deaky.
Skull on a pedestal, we called this. We don't have a name for it, but it is by the artist Brock Print. And Brock Print can be found on Facebook if you want to go check out his other illustrations. But this one, I mean, this kind of has an Indiana Jones feel to it.
Oh, absolutely. Like you can sort of see the tail there is even coming out of the mouth, which is something that was in the Lost Ark.
Yeah. And maybe that's not an actual live snake. I thought maybe the snake and the skull are sort of a statue or something together, or an item together. But the pillar with the beam of light coming down on it, I mean, trap, right? Trap.
Oh, absolutely trapped. I get sort of like decapitated Medusa head vibes from this.
Mm-hmm.
So the snakes,
I like that idea.
Like the snakes are dead. Obviously the head is dead. But this is, an item that you could carry around and petrify people with.
Pro says, I feel like this is too obvious a MacGuffin. Fair. That's a fair, that is a fair criticism of it. Kind of seems like a distraction, and maybe the coin was the real relic of the dungeon. Yes. Like, I think that's a great way to connect the two, that this one is like, but it's actually
a red herring.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, when you, like, if you put this in the center of a room,
if they don't roll some sort of investigation check to be like, is it trapped? You need to smack your table.
Yeah.
Like...
Oh, I take that skull. Absolutely. Well, I mean, what could go wrong?
That's,
I think this is sort of a great staple of D&D. Is sort
Absolutely.
Of like the item on the pedestal, I feel like this is a room where your rogue has an opportunity to shine. As long as the barbarian doesn't just
rage loop
and pick. Exactly. Because I mean, if sometimes when you make a rogue, like this is the kind of encounter you want for your rogue, right?
Oh, for sure.
They're gonna go and check the pedestal. They're gonna take a look around the skull. They're gonna investigate. Like I just feel like this is an opportunity for the rogue to shine, and oh my gosh, what a lot of fun that can be.
Yeah. I feel like you could do a double trap on this. And if you really want to homage to Indiana Jones, which is one of my favorites, you have the snake coming out of the mouth from Raiders.
Yes.
And then it looks like there's a pressure plate underneath the skull itself. Like that little extra dome. You can do like the...
So to answer, Exotic Butters asks, are all of these pictures specific to D&D or another type of game? So the pictures weren't necessarily taken from D&D books. A lot of these were taken from novels, choose your own adventure books, things like that. But when we have our guests on, we don't tell them they have to prep D&D. They can prep any system they want. Like last week, I think Ruin prepped 2 weeks ago, rather, Ruin prepped a Call of Cthulhu story out of it.
We've had a couple Pathfinders.
Yeah, Pathfinders. We've had Dungeon Crawl Classics.
Yep.
We've had X Crawl. We've had just whatever hits. In fact, we like to aim for system neutral so that you guys can steal the ideas for whatever kind of game you're running.
Mm-hmm.
Like whatever, when the DMs come back and we ask them sort of what stories they came up with, you know, clip it or jot down a note so that you can like steal that idea for your own game. Absolutely.
Yeah. By all
Absolutely.
means, this is a game where you can steal the hell out of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're here for. I was once accused of starting this show to just steal ideas for my own adventures. So
No.
it's true. It happened.
Never would have guessed.
How are we for time?
We are 2.5 minutes.
They have 2.5 minutes left.
Yes.
So so anybody in chat have an idea how to link them all together? Crow says, I don't think I've seen a group get by a mundane wooden door without lots of checks. Probably plenty of checks at seeing this. Yeah, I agree. I think that depending on how your your DM plays games, I mean, if they've built up a healthy level of suspicion and distrust for trapping things, then yeah, you're definitely checking doors.
Mhm.
Definitely.
Random joke or random fact, go.
Random joke or random fact. Oh my gosh, I didn't even know we had those
I
here.
didn't know either. Thanks, Lana.
Random joke. Oh, I had a really good dad joke the other day, and
Oh,
now I'm not
boy.
going to be able to remember it.
Of course. I mean, I feel like I had the Keymaster joke. Well, while you're thinking of that, I'm going to read some more comments. You have fun with that. Artemis says, the old headman from a Yonti village, and the room is filled with mirrors, and they must figure out how to cross the room without looking or being turned to stone. I like
Ooh.
that.
I really like that. I love that, actually.
Yeah, that's really awesome. Please don't put that in, because...
How many players do I usually get that just burst through the mundane door?
Well, we
More
have
than
a
you think.
running joke in our Sunday game where somehow Thorgrim got blasted by a ballista 5 feet in front of it while lying on the ground.
Yes.
So
There's a ballista trap behind the door.
I can't remember if we checked that door or not.
I think I actually find less and less as specifically for 5th edition games. Dungeon crawling and traps are becoming less and less a thing. That's my experience.
Yeah, it's a lot more story based.
So you don't get the play where it's like check the door for traps, check under the door, like the traditional gygaxing of a room where you tear the room apart looking for very specific things.
Yeah.
I don't think it happens as much anymore.
No, probably not. Okay, so random fact about Jeremy and I. We have been friends for 2 years, 2 and a little bit, just before COVID shut everything down. And we just met 2 weeks ago.
In real
person.
life.
Well, we had met before. Like, we'd had porch drop-offs because we live like 15, 20 minutes away from each other.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, we just met and had breakfast with our third the other day.
Yeah. This might sound creepy, but I don't think I've hit it off as well with someone in a very long time.
I don't think that's creepy.
No?
The eggs were delicious, Jaredy. They were wonderful. Time is up, so we'll pull everybody back.
Yep.
Hi, friends.
We're all back. We're all done.
Hi.
We were just having a discussion with chat about the trapped door. And whether the trap door actually gets used in Dungeons and Dragons very much anymore, or whether Dungeons and Dragons sort of has moved away from that sort of the trap door in the dungeon. Would you guys agree with that? Do you put many trap doors in your games anymore? Is that even a thing?
No, but I'll see it in DCC modules still.
Yes. Yeah, I agree. In the OSR, it's still very...
So, my players have a fear of doors.
No.
For good reason, I
I
assume.
literally trap every door.
Awesome.
Did we all hear my
Oh,
dog?
yeah.
Did we all hear my dog?
No.
They never checked to So automatically, if they don't check to see if it's trapped, it is a trap door.
So if it's not trapped, it becomes a trap.
Crow says the death house in 5e has a mimic
Yes.
door that caused paranoia in a lot of groups. I would agree. Provided your
I don't
party
remember-
actually gets to the death
I don't
house.
remember a mimic door in that game.
That's because I took it out because I buffed the basement.
That's not something you hear very often. Okay. Are you going to roll and see who goes
Yes,
first?
I actually have a new dice set. I got some sparkly vomit
Nice.
because I needed to ode to Jason, who is our third at Old Men Rolling Dice.
You bought the Sparkle Vomit dice?
I did buy the sparkle vomit dice.
Oh, jeez. He loves that set. Yeah, loves it.
They're beautiful.
So we're going to roll a d12
We are rolling a d12.
to determine who goes?
Yes.
Okay.
I rolled a 2, so Lich is first.
2. I am not number 2.
I rolled a 1, so Lich is first.
Thank you. All right, so now this is not pandering, but it kind of is, I guess. One thing I really love about I chose Dungeon Crawl Classics for a couple reasons. One thing, I really love the funnels. I love funnels. I love the whole concept. I've been in love with it since I found out about it. I love the idea of 16 people, 0 levels, going on an adventure. And this is the second reason I love DCC. On an adventure they have no right being on. That's way bigger and crazier. I mean, this is not going into the tavern basement and killing rats. It's like you're out facing like crazy things. Epic things you don't find in a first level Dungeons and Dragons module. So once I kind of went there, I was like, okay, and I had a concept, I kind of ran with that. So mine is a Dungeon Crawl Classics funnel. For those of you who don't know, it's usually 4 players with 4 characters each that are all 0 level. They're just regular like grave diggers and candlestick makers, and they
Not to shamelessly plug, but I am running a funnel on my Twitch channel, opposite Twitch or Die.
Today?
Twitch or Die, Prep or Die.
So next
on
Wednesday.
the other Wednesday, yeah. So, anyways, and I love them too. Go on.
Hey, Father Jay. Hey, Butters. All right. Yes. So I was thinking DCC funnel. I explained it. Okay. So anyway, 4 players of 4 characters each, all like 0 level. You take them through this big epic adventure, and then they're going to die because a lot of them have 1, 2, 3 hit points. And usually you'll end up with 1 or 2 left, and those become your first level characters. It's a cool way to start a campaign. All right, so this one, for lack of a better name, I call it the Key Man Cometh. One day, very small, isolated village out in the middle of it, doesn't get a lot of visitors. This gentleman comes into town with all these keys. You know, we got that fellow. He's kind of surly. People don't like him. The local priest, who's as time has gone on, has got older and more paranoid as time has gone on, has decided that he decides immediately that this guy is incredibly evil, wicked, and wants him thrown from town and locked up in stocks. Maybe something a little misunderstood, little misunderstanding in the way the Key Man came off that just got the whole town to put him in stocks. Okay, they put him in stocks to try to decide if they're going to hang him for just being different and creepy and a little off. Nobody wants his keys. Nobody knows where his keys from. So they lock him up in stocks. The very next day, or that next morning or afternoon, when they come back from the fields, come back to wherever, none of them can get in their houses. The whole village locked out. They try to take axes to their doors. They can't get the doors locked. They cannot get into their homes anymore. They gather in the town square where they have the key guy and the key man in stocks. And of course there's lots of people want to just kill him. But what ends up happening is he in a growling tone, he says, "You will pay for hurting me. I can free you. If you decide to kill me, you'd be cursed even twice as worse. If you wish to be free of me, then I need you to get something for me." And he wants a new key to add to his collection. the key of Mammon, the key to the Mammon Estate. Now, the Mammon Estate was occupied, of course it was, decades ago. It's soon thrown into disrepair. There's a large graveyard too. It was a big deal. They owned half the village a long time ago. No one even remember. Nobody's alive that remembers them. But it's been locked up and no one goes near it because they know there's evil shit that hangs out over there. There, I use one of our PG-13 words. The leaders of the town get together. They're a little bit more sane than the priest. The priest just wants to cut his head off and be done with the whole thing. They're a little more like, okay, well, who was willing to go? We'll send some people to go to try to get this key. If they can get it and let them go, then maybe all this will be done. We'll give it a shot. If not, we'll kill this guy. Priest agrees. We get 16 volunteers. The town's maybe not the strongest, maybe not some smartest, but the people who are willing to go and try their hand at this. The key man gives them a key, a jeweled key with a set of peculiar gems in it that are set in a certain way, different colors. Gives it to them and tells them they'll need this in order to look in the crypt first. Act 1's over. They head out to the crypt of Mammon, the family Mammon. That's the next thing, the next prompt, which is the kind of crypty looking place. There, of course, getting into the crypt itself, the main thing isn't going to be easy. There happens to be a giant minotaur skeleton and its crew of zombie dogs that will attack them. It's made its home there. That'll weed out a good quarter of them, our people, as they desperately fight their way through that. And then they get down into the first room of the crypt. It's the you'll know, and if they paid attention to the tombs, I will tell you it's the crypt of the brothers Mammon. And crypts, of course, all the sarcophagi are open. It's in disarray. Doesn't look like it necessarily been pillaged, but it does look like it's fallen into disarray or something's been living there. There is over at the one end of the room. There's a pillar with the skull and whatever that is. This picture here, prompt 5. If it's closely examined, you will see the teeth are actually, there's cobwebs in there. And if the cobwebs are cleared out, there is a keyhole in the mouth of the skull. A very, very nasty spider with a human face, who is actually one of the Mammon brothers, Harold, lives inside that mouth. The first person who figures out there's a hole in there and sticks the key into it, he will skitter out and bite. That person needs to make a pretty decent save. They fail that save, they're going to attack the next person in a rabid sense, and then basically 28 days later will start happening all throughout, and they gotta put them person down really quickly. Harold will then skitter away, maybe come back if he needs to, if we need to clear out some more people or if they're messing around too much. But the snakes all have little gems that match up with the key, but you have to turn the heads to be a certain way that's indicative on the key. So it's a bit of a puzzle to get it to work in the first place.
I love that.
Yeah, after you twist the heads to the right way and you put it in and open it, the next door opens, which will lead you into the crypt of Mother. Mother's crypt, the sarcophagi has been broken down and there's a hole has kind of sucked it in, and most of it's in the hole. There is a glimmer of something down there, of course. But there's a lot of her items and bookshelves and things that are all cobwebbed over and stuff. And one particular jewelry box, when you open, the younger brother, Boniford, is hiding and he jets out. At first, it seems like a small mouse. When you pick him up, though, his face is on the underside of the mouse's head. His Boniford. He's very scared. He's very scared. He's not so much like his brothers. You need to catch Boniford. Boniford's going to get away. And the whole thing is there's a key, a coin in there, and the coin is how you get into Father's crypt. But you need Boniford to tell you how to use it. You got to catch him. But meanwhile, you got this shiny stuff in the mom's crypt, and inside of there is a nest of maggot gnomes. Now these are maggot gnomes that have not yet become their final form. They're hanging around down there, and if you go down in there, you might find a silver necklace or something, Mother's silver necklace, but you will be attacked by the maggot gnomes. Once you have caught Boniford and used the key, the coin to open up Father's crypt. Now, Father is his crypt's much better looking. Inside Father's crypt is the final brother, Edgar, who is a Manticore. You can see by his face. He's very bored. He's been in there for a long time. Also mildly hungry, and straight up, he doesn't attack right away. He asks you what you're doing in his father's crypt, and if you tell him you're looking for the key, he will ask you what his father's name is. If they were paying attention and looked at the tombs, the sarcophagi of the brothers, they would see that this is each one was Boniford, son of Blanche, Edgar, son of Blanche, and then he will offer to eat one of you in exchange for the key. I think even if you offer him up somebody to eat, he'll still attack because he'll want more. So this is a fun little thing to see if they actually offer somebody up to eaten. And then a blowout fight with Edgar in order to claim the key. And then they can go, whoever survives goes home, gives it to the keymaster, and the keymaster, will let himself out of the stocks without the key, just so he has his own key. He was at any point he could have gotten out of the stocks and wanders out of town and everybody can get back in their homes.
But only when it was funny.
What's that?
But only when it's funny.
Only when it's funny, yes.
He can get out only when it's funny?
Roger Rabbit, man. Roger Rabbit.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah,
sorry.
right.
Only because it was funny.
I was not on the ball there. I like the idea of the gnome maybe being like, what is there, like a demigod or a god of loss or something? That would be cool. I
feel if you want to pull in some critical role lore, like the Traveler would totally do that just to mess with people.
If anyone out there hasn't played Funnel before, like it's really there's total disregard for character life. Like you just wipe them out. So I love the idea. I like when you were referring to this will take about 25% of their numbers down.
Yeah.
Like yes. That's perfect. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thank you. That was fun.
That was awesome.
Who's next, Aphi?
Next we have Rando.
Oh man, that's a tough act to follow.
You can do it.
You'd be awesome.
You got this.
So I started with, probably because I'm going to psychoanalyze as I want to do, but because it was in color, I started with the Manticore one. It's what stood out to me the most. So one thing that I love, back up. This would probably be 5e, or I really love Pathfinder, but it would use none of the Pathfinder lore. So I just like, it's a little bit more crunchy, so I just like Pathfinder more. But so kind of like a basic one shot, like you guys have been hired by a Professor Redmayne to come to this esteemed magical academy, and he needs you to come fetch something. And so they walk in to this academy, and they know that this professor's supposed to greet them. What they don't know is Professor Redmayne is a Manticore. And so I like to throw in lots of surprises and kind of subvert expectations. So, and he's like this super nice professor. Maybe he was like not a Manticore at one point, and then a magical accident happened, and now he's a Manticore. But either way, he is really interested in historical artifacts, particularly tied to like ritual magics. And so he has been doing this research looking for this particular crystal foci used in rituals, and he wants you and the party to go fetch it from this abandoned temple where he thinks it was used for rituals probably centuries ago. Since it's like in this abandoned area, he's like, it'll probably be kind of quick in and out. He's not really expecting any kind of trouble. So kind of after getting the intro, he sends you to Professor Lopfoot. And this is where we come to our gnome, who I struggled to fit him in somewhere. So Professor Lopfoot is in charge of the portal systems set up in the academy. And so he maintains those, he looks after those. If you want to basically teleport anywhere, he literally has the key. So what the party encounters is this really grumpy, curmudgeon-y gnome who, even though they have a writ of use from Professor Redmayne, he doesn't like Professor Redmayne. He thinks Professor Redmayne is too accepting of like giving out secrets of the academy. And so this is kind of like a little funny obstacle of like, maybe I make them like roll some persuasion checks to like befriend the gnome, or, you know, get Professor Lopfoot to let them use the portal. So once they kind of get through that, eventually, if they're really struggling and they can't get him to do it, maybe I'll have someone come in and make him do it anyway. So then the portal opens to the graveyard. So this is the graveyard picture with that big arch.
Yep.
I thought it was like a really awesome, like dramatic thing of like, how cool would it be to just like bamf through that. And so the portal opens and they come into this like desolate graveyard out, and it's like in this like desert town. And so just like kind of like barren wasteland, and they're just kind of walking through this empty village. This is where they might encounter. I'm also kind of struggling with like, what secrets do I don't reveal, but there is a drifter in the town that is kind of tailing them as they go through it. And so I would be having them, make perception checks to see if they pick up on the drifter. If they really start to investigate some of the houses, they will find like, basically like they'll find like the remains of people like in their homes, kind of just like, it's like life was living there, and then all of a sudden just like everyone just keeled over and died. And so really kind of trying to build on this, like this place is like dead and something really wrong happened here, but none of them are really going to be able to figure out what that is. But in the town, kind of like towards the center of it, is the temple that they were told about. And it's to kind of like an older, obscure god, that, real small potatoes guy, like that farmers tend to worship. And so they go in there and they are looking around, and there's like nothing there. There's like some pews and like the statue of the god, and there's nothing there. And after investigating for a little bit, they find what is the offering box. And so that'll be the next of the box. They're going to open the box, and they only find this coin. One coin, and it's got a Z on it, and there is a skull biting it. And the coin actually looks like kind of newish. Like it doesn't look as like deteriorated as everything else. And so if they're looking around and really paying attention, like I would try to like build in a lot of lore. I love lore, and especially like religion in fantasy games. So like I would really use this as a moment to kind of world build as they look at who this god is, what he stood for. And as they investigate the statue, they find a slot hidden kind of towards the base of it. And so if someone puts a coin in the slot, the statue moves aside and a staircase opens under the temple.
I like that.
And so this is where, if they encountered the drifter, this is kind of where kind of two things might happen. So if they encounter the drifter is like, doesn't really seem like coherent, and is like kind of babbles and like tries to run away kind of thing. But if they're able to kind of corner the drifter and talk to them for a little bit, they start noticing like weird tics about the drifter. And a really perceptive player might notice that there's actually, their eyes are serpentine. And that maybe their hood is trying to cover a patch of scales on their skin. And so basically, if they decide to detain the drifter or deal with the drifter, whatever, that could end up being a combat. But if they don't, they're ambushed in this moment by UNT. Oh gosh, I forgot. I was like, I got the name of the monster, now I can't remember. But basically, like, snake people jump out and attack them. That's if they don't deal with the drifter, the snake people attack. If they do deal with him and the drifter isn't able to get back to Warren, they can enter unbothered. Sorry. And so they go through and they basically find this temple to the god Zahir, which is a god used in D&D lore, a god of snakes, revenge, dark pacts. And what they find is the UNT here have overtaken this area and set up a shrine to Zahir, where they are making pacts with Zahir and his children, which in traditional D&D lore, I repurpose the UNT gods and like make them the children of Zahir. And so they would go through and like go through this temple, taking out UNT, trying to find this crystal foci. And so then they come to kind of the main ritual room towards the back, and that's where they find the skull on the pedestal with snakes writhing over it. And they interrupt some higher ranking UNT priests, who of course they attack. It's kind of the final boss fight, things like that. And when that is all dealt with, they actually, when they go to take the skull, whoever takes it actually hears someone talk to them, and they have to make a will save to not be mind controlled or overpowered by the entity in the skull. And so if they make that save, then the skull tries to kind of like start deal making of like, okay, if you I can give you great power if you swear fealty to me, blah blah blah. Allow a moment for maybe a player who I know one shots I have people come in wanting to play more evil characters, so this would be a chance for them to kind of flex that evil side. And so from there I kind of play it fast and loose of like, if they take the deal, then it's like, okay, here are the powers you get, but you really like, you think everyone is against you and everyone's trying to take you out, and so like that could turn into this kind of fun player versus player thing of like, okay, the rest of the party has to take out this player.
It's always fun in a one shot as well.
Yeah, so, and that's what I like to do with one shots, is to do all the things that are messy and you don't necessarily work as well in a longer term campaign.
Yeah.
So that would all kind of shake down, and the end kind of is where I petered out in my detail. So it's like, if they get the skull, great, they can take it back to Redmayne, and he's like, oh crap, like I didn't have any idea that it was Zahir and stuff, and like we need to get rid of this thing. Or maybe that one player manages to get away, or he or she managed to overpower the party, and so then it's like the evil one. And so yeah, that's kind of the basic shakedown of how it worked out. So
that's great.
I think I hit all the pictures.
I think you did. I have a question for you.
Yeah.
Zahir, did you have to look that up, or did you just happen to know?
So I actually stole in two worlds that I tried to build ago. I pulled on a predetermined pantheon. And so Zahir was one of those. And so I actually had a really great moment with my players where I freaked them out with like, they met like a 6-headed serpent person that was like 12 feet tall. And so this was all of this lore was stuff I had developed for them, and then that game just kind of didn't pan out, so I just kind of copy pasted.
This is incredible. I had no idea about this. So if you wiki Forgotten Realms wiki Zahir, they show you a picture of his holy symbol, and I'm not kidding you, it is almost identical to what is on top of our little pillar.
Right, and so that's why
the snake.
Yeah, so I saw that and I was like, that is Zahir. And so I was like, okay, so I have to pull in all of this crap that I've already worked on,
Absolutely,
and I've already developed.
Yeah, you hit a home run with Zahir. I think that's awesome.
Absolutely.
I googled Zahir as you were talking, and up comes this holy symbol, and it's basically the skull with the snake up, like jaw dropping. I'm like,
so that was in. I think as DMs we have very late nights where we go on lore dives and just like.
Oh yes.
Next page to the next page. So it was on, I was looking up gods, found Zahir, and then just spent the next 2-3 hours just learning everything I could about Zahir and UNT and all of that. So,
yeah, that's fantastic. Snake people have a place in sort of sword and sorcery, sort of storytelling. I think it has. They have a place in. There's a lot of old school modules that deal with like lizard folk or snake people. Or, you know, I think.
One of the things like Pathfinder has is that snake people were like the originals.
Yes.
Like they were the original powerful things. So I love that idea of like this society that used to be great is now clawing its way back out of the shadows, trying to find ways desperately to regain what they had.
Slithering
out of the shadows.
Slithering rather than clawing.
That's much better than clawing. So yeah, slithering.
Well
Fix
done.
that for you.
Well done.
It's awesome.
It also harkens back to Conan and the snake cult.
And go wrong with a snake cult.
I'm a huge fan. I'm there. Okay, well that leaves us with one more to go.
Last but not least,
the Great Vermilion.
Can you hear me?
We can. We're gonna hope it holds out, but you just go.
Okay. All right. So I started with the key dude, but we're gonna dive in. Even though I started there, that's not where we start in the thing. We're doing 5e Dungeons and Dragons, and the king has called a tournament. That's where your players are gonna meet. There are 5 different I guess categories that they can compete in: archery, hand-to-hand combat, mounted combat, swordsmanship, and an eating contest. So
yes,
1 player per tournament. And if you have, it works best 3 to 5 players. So you have them roll a couple of rolls against you, and you give them a couple of big moments in their fights and eating contests, no more than 3, and then you could just kind of move past. The people who win, the king is dying, and the nobles are starting wars to take the throne from him because he has no heirs. So he decides to send the group to find the one true source that can select a new bloodline for the throne. However, it was locked away many years ago, and it's very dangerous to get to because you must cross the Field of Bones, which always remains in darkness. So that would be the second, or the 4th picture is the graveyard. The graveyard. Okay. Yeah. So they know that this device is going to be in a locked area, so they must go to the locksmith, who is a magical gnome. He always has a key for any lock, but always at a price equal to what's behind the lock. So if there's a chest full of gold and you need a lock to open it, you end up paying your personal wealth to get that gold. If there's an unknown thing behind it would be just like a random roll. So what you're going, you don't know what the device, you do know what it's for. It's to save the kingdom, and to pay would be to lose the and so whoever pays the price, if they trick somebody into paying the price for them, there's that as well. I figured if you have less players, you could put in some NPCs to get it around that 5 number. Then they're gonna make their way to the Field of Bones, and there is a guardian, and that's where you're gonna put your Manticore. And he's not just any Manticore; he is a zombie Manticore. Because the Field of Bones, if you ask anyone, there was a war many years ago where there was a mass explosion and everyone died. Anyone who enters the field, and so lingering death. Be more of an intelligent being. Maybe it's on the first end of its curse. And they go through, they have to make a con save every so often. And if they fail this con save, you would roll it with one of the curses: zombie, vampire, specter, ghast, or wraith, and they would just slowly start to turn into that creature. In the center of the field is a gateway or a doorway to a pocket dimension, of which is a massive museum of many items. In the very back, there's a pillar with a skull atop of it, and that skull is sentient. It is the curator of the museum. He tells the group that if you solve my riddles 3, you alone can be free. The pillar that he sent, you can do perception, intelligence checks to try to get them to solve the puzzle. I would do it in a turn order and throw them some combat in, because by the time that they get to the pillar, I'm sure that at least one person has picked up any number of items, as the only protection here is a skull atop a pillar. However, that is not true. All of the items are animated objects, and they start to work against the party. So if you have sticky fingers, you have more items against you.
Finish the road.
Instant rogue death. And so I would items table in the DMG. And who is staying on course? In my experience, no one stays on course. And of course, from last time, if you remember, I am pro party wipe. So as they start to do the puzzles and the riddles to move the pillar, when they finally get through the 3 puzzles, it opens, and there's a box in the center of it with a keyhole. The person who has the key can open it. However, to do so, if you do not check, it is trapped. And the trap basically, I have a set of insanity. There's 2 d10s, and one is permanent effects, and one is like a fainting, run away, those die. If they fail their con save, that effect would happen. If they pass, they open the box to find it empty, except for there's a out and runs. Of course, all the combat and the puzzles, and you would pan, and like after everyone ends, they're kind of like, you kind of explain to them, and it is a pan away, scurries away through the field of following in the kingdom. It goes and it finds a small boy, and the boy is kind and brings a knight who is well known to all of the families, Sariel Englebush. He's half elf, half dwarvish, and then they see another time, and that elf half becomes the next king. Just now they're stuck in with all the, so there's that. So any magical items that they would come with them would be added to the museum.
No keepsies.
No keepsies.
No keepsies at all.
Nope. That belongs in a museum. Yes! Trifecta Indiana Jones reference.
Well, Vermilion, you broke up a little bit on us at the end, but I think we got the gist of it.
So
I applaud you for the tournament start. I really like.
Yeah.
Anytime we don't get the sort of the standard, you're in the inn or you're on the road.
In a bar.
Yeah. I like the idea of a tournament to kick things off. That's a great idea, especially if you have different events that can draw on different characters' strengths and weaknesses, for sure.
Absolutely.
Plus, you got a huge response from chat about the eating contest.
Yes.
Everybody was in for that.
I think they were thinking real life eating contest, but unfortunately, no pies or hot dogs will be provided.
I do. If I play in person, I do have props sometimes. So we did a one shot where everyone got these random potions, and so I went to Walmart and they have $1 lucky sauce and somewhat whatever they got. They got little booze. They did have to actually drink it, and then if you are blinded or deafened to going on, I do actually make you turn away from the table if you're.
I love that. I never thought about actually making somebody look away from the table.
We did a Halloween one shot once where we had mystery potions that had to be actually drank in order for your character, and yeah, there's some pretty nasty tasting stuff in it. It was mixed response. Some people loved the idea, other people like, I'm not drinking that. I'm not drinking that.
Like the every flavor beans.
Exactly.
Yep.
The jelly bean. Yes, for sure. I want to thank our guests for coming out tonight. Just before we go, quickly, one question that we regularly ask at the end of the show is, if you were prepping your game for this week, how much, assuming you have a weekly game, maybe you don't have a weekly game, maybe it's a bi-weekly or a monthly game, but when you're prepping a game, how much time would you estimate that you spend on that prep?
That looked like a shame head bow to me.
Would you say an hour? I mean, some weeks, obviously, depending on your schedule, maybe you don't spend any time on prep and you just show up to the game and go, which some people find terrifying. But what do you think if you were putting together a game for this weekend, had some friends playing, how much time would you put into to getting that session prepped up? Lich, do you have sort of a number in mind?
You maybe up to 3 hours.
Yeah, all at once, or would you spread that out?
It's got to spread out. Because, well, sometimes, I got to spread it out because it doesn't always just come to you right away.
Sure.
Sometimes it's 3 hours before because I just couldn't get to where I needed to go in my head in the story. Sometimes I nail it in an hour. You know, it's somewhere between 1 to 3 hours.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's a pretty common. I think you're in the ballpark. What we usually hear. Yeah, I think that I like what you said about the. You know, it depends on whether you're struck with sort of inspiration or not on things. And I do think if you can leave your work alone for, like, do maybe half an hour one day and then leave that and come back to it. I think that's good for it too, to have a chance to sort of swim around in your brain.
I'm a big fan of what I call soft eyes, where you don't look at it with hard eyes, because then you're gonna miss things. You gotta look at things soft. You gotta keep your brain soft so that things can just come to you. If you try too hard, you force it, it's not gonna work.
I agree. How about you, Rando? How much time?
I really resonated with the talk of like, how inspired am I? Because if I like to kind of latch on. Again, I'm really big on like a world lore kind of thing. So like, I'll probably latch on to like one thing and like, let's make that session learning everything I can about this one thing. So, and that's where I get into those multi-hour deep dives on multiple wiki pages with 60 tabs open. 3 topics from where I started. So, I would say like actually writing down and like prepping the work, probably about 3 hours. So, but there's lots of hours before then spent just researching.
Sure. I think most DMs and GMs are constantly, you know, thinking it over, processing stuff, and I mean,
I like to call that noodling.
Noodling?
Noodling.
Do you noodle?
Just kind of like noodle it around in the old noodle.
I'm with you. Chat, if you want to put in chat, if you're in our chat and you want to put in how much time you would spend in a week prepping for your game, do that now. Vermilion, how much time? You laughed when I asked, so I can't wait to hear. Is it a lot or a little?
It's a lot. It doesn't stop. I am an insomniac. So I do a lot of thinking, and to not think about things that make me anxious, I create things that make other people anxious.
I love that.
So probably anywhere from to just be all and then we
I think my connection crapped out to Vermilion again. Do we know? Sorry, I missed how long? 4 hours? 5 hours? 20 hours?
8 to 12.
8 to 12? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say that I'm thinking about my game all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know that I consider that prepping, but like if there's a moment in the day where I'm maybe in the car or something, I maybe start to think some things through. I think it's just like sort of like a non-ending process. Aphi, how about you?
Uh, I run a lot of sandbox games, so having the party be able to go from like point A to point B very simply is not an option for me. So I sort of take cues from what they're doing in the last session, but it doesn't always work out that way. I have generalized ideas about a lot of the areas in my sandbox, but as for prep, pretty much whenever I have free time, I'm like putting a map together or just doing like lore building, NPC building, just so, the cities feel lived in when they get to them.
Drawing is always a fun.
Yeah, I have general sort of overarching plot line ideas, but for like the day-to-day prep, that's kind of, I just do it whenever I can.
I like what Artemis put in chat. She put that I don't really ever stop writing stuff, but actually writing stuff probably about 4 hours, which is sort of what we're hearing here too. Yeah. Well, I want to thank everyone. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, something that helps me is I use text to talk on my phone. So anytime I have an idea, if I'm in the car, I'm just like, I'm not gonna say it, but my little robot's name, and then I'll say, put this in notes.
Yeah, I think that's very handy.
You can go into your settings and create your phone.
Yeah, because anybody who says, oh, I'll remember that, no, you won't. It'll fade. Absolutely. Well, again, thank you, everybody. I appreciate your time being here and walking through this with us and letting us steal your ideas. Time has become more and more valuable to me as a person as I've gotten older, between family and gaming and work and all the rest of it. So I appreciate your time with us. Aphi, any closing remarks before we sign out of here?
Well, just join us on DM Jeremy's channel next week for our second episode of the funnel that we're running for our DCC mini campaign.
We should say everybody in that game is rookies. We are running.
Yes.
We are Hole in the Sky.
Yep.
None of the players.
Oh my god, that's my favorite.
Okay, none of the players have played DCC before, and
Perfect.
I have only played in one DCC funnel, and I'm, fumbling through it as the GM.
Yeah.
So as the judge, rather.
So
are you going to? I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Go
ahead.
Are you going? You're starting off a campaign with it?
We are. Yes, we're gonna.
I would. My advice is to look at the end and tweak it a little even more. The wheel in the sky, because it's such a cool thing.
Yes.
Because I feel like some of the options don't hit as hard as they could. Like really, bringing out like this has changed and now you're going on an adventure.
I'm in that one and I don't.
That's all I'm saying.
I made a campaign on that.
Okay.
Yep. That's awesome. I
love that. I love that one. Yeah.
It's great.
Brendan's fantastic.
If anybody has never tried DCC before, it would not take long to learn the rules and try the funnel out. It's a ton of fun. Just imagine, basically, like in our game, it's like 18 peasants out to try to save the world or save their part of the world. Yeah. Anyway, we will be back in 2 weeks for Prep or Die. And as Aphi said, on my channel next Wednesday for some DCC fun. Yeah. Thanks again, everybody. Stick around in Discord, and we'll say our goodbyes. Chat, thank you again.
Oh, do you want to try to do some links here?
Oh, if you want to. Is anybody got some links that we can do?
Ooh,
Are you able to put them in, Lich?
Let me try right now. I'm going to do mine. Yeah.
Hey.
So that's my Twitch channel.
And hang on a sec. Let me go to TikTok quick and get Madam Vermillion's channel.
Thank you, because I'm terrible at technology.
That's okay. No worries. The storm happens. Nothing we can do about it.
No.
Nature!
You can
If
put
I
it in
put
our
it, if I put it in, are you able to? Okay, I'll put
put it
in.
in our prepper die. Yep.
There we go.
All right. Let's see.
Rando, do you have it? You don't have a link?
No, not yet. So, maybe something in the future. I've been
Maybe you should come and run a one shot on my channel one night.
Or
You
mine.
know what? I could. So I could take this one shot and make it. Well, you couldn't play then because you kind of know the secrets.
Oh yeah, well but we could make you make another one.
Yeah,
we're slate.
That's true.
We're taskmasters that way. We're
Yeah.
totally taskmasters that way. Okay, thanks again, everybody. Aphi, take us out of here. We'll see you in 2 weeks for more
Bye.
Prep or Die.
I